what a day today. Friday was good fun. This was a really quick trading day. We ended it up really nice, and we could have even done it faster if we traded pre-market. But before we dive into the stocks and what we traded, I want to quickly talk about the trade journal and one really good lesson that I want to talk about before starting anything, and the best way to get started in something, and why it's so important to start small, but really just get started and then be consistent. And the best way to talk about this is just going to our trade journal to talk about our trade overview for this small account challenge. And these are the two trades we did today. I haven't fully documented them yet, but we're up about 6% exactly on the two trades, and running away with 80 bucks today. So dollar amount, it's small, but 6% is a really nice gainer in one day. So I really like that. I'm pretty happy with our progress today. But let me get started here and talk about this small account challenge. We started kind of roughly in October. I didn't really know I was going to do a small account challenge fully in October, but I did know that I wanted to get back into day trading small cap stocks. I knew I was a little shaky, so I decided to loosely fund my account with about $2,000 and then kind of get started from there and then build some momentum. And that's exactly what I did. But you'll probably notice over here that our profit is negative $94. Our win ratio is positive. Our average position size is 1,087. But then, you go over here and you're like, what is this, Alex? Why are you negative 6.25%? Why is your average loss so high? And that's because in October, I made two really silly mistakes, and I want to talk about those now. So everything was starting off pretty good. We had some small winners, we had some small losers. Right here on the 8th, we had our first 2 weeks kind of behind us. We were making some slow progress. I understood this was going to be kind of a slow challenge at first because I had to kind of rediscover a lot of things after trading crypto for 1.5 years and then just not really doing any small cap trading anymore. And then I entered one trade where I didn't cut my losses quick enough. And on top of not cutting my position quick enough, I also was not really thinking fully through on the pattern day trader rule. And that's when I realized I need to work on my portfolio allocation. And this was just a few weeks before I made a whole entire portfolio allocation video, and I really readjusted and everything. And it wasn't until just the trade right after that where I took a massive loss. And this is because I wasn't focused as much on volume as I should have been. I got stuck in a trade ACNV. And the reason I got stuck in this trade is because this thing kept on crashing with with very low volume, and I couldn't really get out of this stock. It was just a complete nightmare. I held it for several days. I'm not even sure why I did that. And I ended up taking a 55% loss on this stock, which, $617. That's a quite decent amount of money to lose on, one trade, especially when you're only trading $1,100 position size. So this was a pretty big loss, and that really ruined my stats a little bit. I almost was thinking I should completely restart because, this is kind of irrelevant to my stats. But then I thought, whatever, some outliners is good to remember, why you learned lessons and why you made adjustments. So I ended up leaving October, even though I didn't really start this whole challenge till November. And that's when we decided to grow, $4,000 into $25,000. And that's when this whole entire challenge really started. But October, I was trying to figure out, what are my goals? What are my strategies? What do I need to look at? And this month was very wishy-washy. We were just kind of all over the place. We had some nice winners, we had some nice losers. I wasn't really confident with my trading strategy. I just needed to get back into it. I needed to have some exposure. And the most important thing though that I did this month was, one, I just started with this tiny account size. I mean, yeah, we lost $617 on that one trade, but it didn't really matter. I mean, I could always refund the account. And that's exactly why I only started with $2,000. Even if I lost all $2,000 because of some crazy mistake, we could always restart, right? That was the whole plan. So it didn't really bum me out too much. Yeah, it sucked that right after I tried to get back into small caps, we had this big loser. But those things happen. That's just life. So just by getting started in October, even though we did end the month negative, and I'll show you the total, by the end of October, I was feeling a little bit more smooth. I learned a lot of the mistakes. I was working on the portfolio allocation, even though November was the big month where we really fixed our portfolio allocation. But this was really the start. It was a very simple and safe start to a kind of diving back into something that I used to do years ago all the time, but I knew I was rusty and I wanted to start slow, and this was the perfect way to do it. So if we go to our portfolio right here, you can see that October, this was the big hit on Friday we had, and this brought our day trading sum down to $766 negative. And on this one day, our account took a 30% dip. And yeah, the rest of the month, we had some nice winners, and we fixed the problem a little bit. We ended the month on negative $612, which really wasn't that bad. Next month, this is when I decided to say, okay, I want to take this a little bit more serious. I like what I'm seeing. I know I just made a dumb mistake and I can fix this. And if I just keep on doing the strategy and studying the strategy, studying my past trades, getting a little bit more serious about this whole entire challenge, then I could really see myself getting back into day trading, which I really, really love doing. And that's also when I put together this $25,000 challenge, where I discovered that, if we're just consistently doing about 60% win-loss ratio with an average win of 7% and an average loss of around 4%, with an average amount of trades per week, nine average trades per week, and roughly 33% of our account per trade, then around August we would hit, or September, around August or September, we would hit our $25,000 goal. So this, I believe, is a fairly conservative estimate, because I know with my crypto trading, I'm right around 63% of the time. And I also know that based on our strategy and my past performance with other trading, I believe I can get around an average win percent of the 7% and an average loss of around 4%. So if we come back to the day trading, if we just go back to October when we had these two kind of ridiculous losses, which are kind of outliners, let me just go ahead and say these are still live trades, so they don't count in the calculation. You can see that our average win is 4% and our average loss is 3.42%, and our average win goes up a little bit too, but that's not really important. So our average loss would be now looking really good, and I can see the biggest thing I need to work on are my average wins. They're 4%, which is a little low. So that is something I should be putting some attention to. How can I go ahead and increase my average win to get that closer to 7%? And I feel like I already have the answer to that. And over the next few weeks, we'll be talking about that a lot more. So make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon too, so you won't miss those upcoming videos. On our watch list today, we're looking at BLRX, we're looking at CCCL, and CIFS. Now, all of these were in a very similar market cap and shares outstanding, so basically a little bit more than the float category, and all in the lower area. I mean, I was super pumped when I saw all of these things trading. This is exactly what our strategy calls for. So I was just really excited. And I was like thinking, which one should we be trading today? Which one should I put my focus on? Really, the one that caught my attention was CCCL. So I'll talk about that in a second. What put me on edge about BLRX is that we had a really nice gap up here. We went all the way to 36%, but then we had a huge pullback in this area, and then the bounce wasn't really that strong. Yeah, 9%, I mean, pretty nice, but that's a perfect top and bottom. And then, when the market opened, this thing just started gapping down. And even here, this bounce, which could have been, a potential trade, and we were talking about it too, this 2.8 area could be a nice bounce area. This was only a 4% bounce. So getting a perfect entry on that would only give you 4%. I mean, I don't know, that's really shaky. So I kind of was ignoring this one today. Then all of my attention went to CCCL. And the reason for that is because pre-market, we were already running pretty heavy. We were up around 70%, and 80% even, and I really, really like this. Actually, pre-market, I didn't really feel comfortable trading yet, especially because this thing has a really aggressive downwards trending chart, and all the morning breakouts have failed. But around 8 a.m., I was looking for a potential entry right around here in this 1.2 area. And then again, a potential entry when we had this breakout to the upside and a pullback around 1.23. I mean, both of these could have been really, really nice entries, both landing, 10 to 15% gains really, really quickly. So this thing just looked really nice pre-market. It had the most volume, and it also had the most percentage gains. So, this thing, a lot of people were looking at it. And then we had the market open, and this is when things got really, really fun. Right off the bat, we had a big breakout to the upside, and I was pretty excited about that because we had big volume. I didn't really feel comfortable buying some sort of breakout like that, so I put my limit order down here closer to the 1.35 area, and you can see we had a flash crash back down before we continued to rally. So I got a nice entry here at 1.36. But then the breakout was really weak. We had this first attempt to break higher, but then we had a quick pullback again. And I was really shaky. I was like, I don't want to be negative on this trade. I was just up, 5-6%. So I went ahead and placed a limit order to get out around 1.42. We probably left around 2% profits on the table, but whatever, that happens. I don't regret it at all. I want to focus on risk management more than anything so we don't have one of those big losses again. We were rewarded, got out of the trade, moved on. I was pretty happy. Now, at this point, I was basically done for trading for the day. I was like, you know what? I don't want to take any more risk. We had a failed breakout right here. This thing looked like it was slowing down, more selling volume coming in. It was consolidating over here. I had a really good feeling that it was not going to break to the upside and probably break to the downside just because this general selling pressure, consolidation. Not to mention all the failed gap ups, and then also that there's really no news on this stock today. So I knew this thing would probably break down. I mean, I didn't know it, but that was kind of my feeling. And I also had a feeling that probably in this area around 125, we would see some sort of support and a potential bounce. And that's what happened. We crashed down here. My limit order got executed at 1.26. I should have been a little bit more conservative. We bounced up a little bit. There's so much selling pressure. I didn't really feel comfortable holding. So I instantly got out at 1.28. We took a really small profit on this one. But I was just happy to be out. I didn't want to take a loss. And then, this thing sells off another 10%. So I was really, really happy about this one. Now it's kind of, finding a bottom and reversing a little bit. It had this really big bounce here around 13%. That was really, really nice. I'll take my 2 trades and I'll be done for the day. Plus we ran out of trades anyway, so I couldn't even trade after this if I wanted to. The last stock, CIFS, this one was looking pretty good too. And I was so close to buying it pre-market here at 103. Even during the live stream, you guys saw my limit order here, but I never ended up pulling the trigger. I probably should have, but again, I didn't really feel comfortable with this one. This one also had about 0 news on it. It had about, the gap up wasn't really that strong. It was only about 20%. And then I had a really big pullback. So I didn't really feel comfortable trading this one. But I think this entry here around 1.03 would have been really, really good just because the general support in this area. I mean, on the daily chart, you can see that pullback would have been all the way here to 1.03. I mean, there's a huge support in this area. Then this thing broke to the upside, had one pullback here, had a second pullback here, and had a third pullback here. And that's three opportunities we would have had to get into this stock. And if we bought on the first pullback and just held through all of them, that's a 30% rally. This pullback's really nice too because it has a nice little flag here, breaks to the upside, and if you sold on the first breakout, you would have already been up 12%. And these are really nice. I probably would have sold somewhere here on the first shoulder. And then there was a flash crash right here at 1.16. So if you just put a limit order near the former breakout here, and then bought this thing rallied 17% in 3 minutes. So this thing was ripping left and right, really, really nice. A lot of good trading opportunities. I missed all of them on this one because all of our attention was on CCCL, and I don't regret it one bit because we had a phenomenal trading day. We took our profits quickly. In theory, we technically cut our losses quickly because on the second trade, there wasn't really a balance, and I got out of that trade right away. I wasn't just, blindly hoping that eventually maybe it will reverse. So I'm really happy with the way I traded today and the profits. And I think being happy about the way you trade is also super, super important because let's say you make $100, like for us, that would be around 9% on the day, but you broke all your rules. Is that really a good thing? I'm not really sure. So today we followed all our rules. We did exactly what we wanted to, and we made profit. So that was extra rewarding today, and I'm super happy. It's a great way to start the weekend. Talking about the weekend, I hope you guys have a phenomenal weekend. Give this video a like if you found some value in it. I will see you guys again then on Monday, first thing for the live stream to talk about the watch list and then trade the opening bell. Till then, I will see you guys next time. Stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.